I'm so tired of waking up and Kevin Stefanski having a job. I'm so tired of it. The fact that he went out, he won his debut. He looked better than Dillon Gabriel has ever looked. Ever. And then in his post-game press conference, he's like, I don't know, I'm not really sure what we're going to do. We'll discuss that later. What do you mean you don't know what you're going to do? There's only one thing to do. You keep Shedeur in. You can watch how that team played with him and see that they want absolutely nothing to do with Dillon Gabriel. Read a room, man. Like, absolutely insane. And then to not even give Shedeur a game ball in his rookie debut that he won when I can't even... When was the last time a Browns quarterback won their debut? Like, dead serious. I can't even think... I can't even think back that far. Like, he's not even trying to hide the fact that he hates him. And I am so tired of anyone trying to say otherwise. If you're still trying to say that Kevin Stefanski doesn't hate him, especially after yesterday, go to hell.
The truth is finally coming out, and it's worse than anyone could have thought. People who work for the Cleveland Browns are now confirming what a lot of people have thought for weeks. Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, and the rest of the coaching staff have been systematically handcuffing Shedeur Sanders, not letting him play his natural game, limiting his pass attempts, and basically ruining any chance he has to show off the elite talent that millions of college football fans watched dominate for years. This is no longer just a guess. This isn't the realm of conspiracy theories. This is real proof that the Browns coaching staff is holding Shedeur's throwing arm so tightly that he might as well be playing a different position. And when you look at the numbers and compare how much he's used to other rookie quarterbacks in the league, and when you realize how strict and conservative this offensive game plan has been, you'll be shocked at how much sabotage is going on in Cleveland right now. Let's start with the numbers, which are the most damning evidence that show this whole thing for what it is. Shedeur Sanders has played 3 games for the Cleveland Browns now. 3 chances to show what he can do as a quarterback in the NFL. 3 chances to show that the 5th-round pick Jimmy Haslam fought so hard for was the right choice. Shedeur has only thrown 61 passes in those 3 games combined. 61 passes in 3 full football games. That's about 20 passes per game, which is completely ridiculous for any quarterback in the modern NFL, let alone a young player you're trying to evaluate and develop for the future. To help you understand how limiting and conservative that approach is, let's compare that number to another rookie quarterback who is currently playing. Dillon Gabriel of the Oregon Ducks threw the ball 52 times in one game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 52 throws in one game. That's almost as many passes as Shedeur has thrown in 3 games. Think about how crazy that is. Think about what that says about how much faith their coaching staffs have in these 2 quarterbacks and how they are using them. One team says, we trust our quarterback enough to let him throw the ball 52 times in a game because we trust his arm, his decision-making, and his ability to win games through the air. The other team says, we're going to give our quarterback 20 passes per game, keep everything conservative, run the ball all the time, and make sure he never gets the chance to really open up the offense and show what he can do. Shedeur threw 25 passes against the San Francisco 49ers last week. The week before, he threw 20 times against the Las Vegas Raiders. The first one is in a short amount of time against the Baltimore Ravens when he came in during the game. He threw 16 times. Those numbers tell a very clear story about an offensive game plan that is meant to keep Shedeur out of the action instead of using his skills to their fullest. This isn't helping players get better. This isn't giving a young quarterback the chances and tools he needs to get better and grow. This is the coaching staff's way of protecting themselves from criticism by keeping everything so conservative and plain that when things go wrong, they can point to the small sample size and say, we never really gave him a chance to fail spectacularly, so you can't blame us for the results. Now, this is where it gets really interesting and shows how the Cleveland Browns organization is really messed up. On Cleveland radio station 92.3 The Fan, local media figures were openly talking about this very issue. They agreed that Shedeur is basically on a leash and that the coaching staff has been very cautious about how they use him. They also said that there is a real debate about whether they should finally let him go against the Tennessee Titans this week. The Titans are one of the very worst teams in the NFL. They've probably only won one game this season. Their defense isn't doing well. Their offense can't keep drives going. This is the kind of team that you should let your young quarterback gain confidence, throw the ball all over the field, build chemistry with his receivers, and start to develop the timing and rhythm that great quarterbacks need. But even against the Titans, who are one of the worst teams in the league, there seems to be disagreement within the Browns organization about whether Shedeur should really be allowed to play quarterback the way the position is meant to be played in the modern NFL. One of the radio hosts said something very important that you need to know in order to understand what's going on. I've backed it up for 2 games of pussyfooting around the situation and 2 games of conservative offense. I'm not trying to make this a get-right game or anything like that, but if we're going to judge him, maybe we should just let him go. We should probably just put him in the gun and let him stand there and do his thing. That's a local journalist who covers the team every day, has sources inside the building, and knows how things work inside. They basically confirm that the coaching staff has been scared. Instead of coaching to win, they've been coaching not to lose. They've been protecting themselves instead of helping their quarterback get better. And what came next was the most damning part of the whole conversation. The host said, "I think Kevin Stefanski disagrees with that. I think Tommy Rees may disagree with that to some level, but definitely Kevin Stefanski." This means that even the local media, who are paid to cover this team professionally and keep good relationships with the organization, are openly saying that the head coach is skeptical in letting Shedeur throw the ball, doesn't trust him enough to open up the passing game, and is actively limiting what the young quarterback can do on the field. Let's talk about why this is going on, because the reasoning shows you everything you need to know about how Kevin Stefanski thinks and what he cares about. Stefanski is coaching right now to keep his job. He knows that the Browns season has been a total failure. He knows that the owners are upset. He knows that his job is getting harder every week. When coaches are under that kind of stress and worried about losing their jobs, they often make choices that are best for their own safety instead of the team's long-term growth. Playing safe on offense, running the ball a lot, and not throwing many passes to lower risk. All of those are ways to keep games close and avoid the kinds of big mistakes that get coaches fired right away. But here's the issue with that method. If you're really trying to figure out if Shedeur Sanders can be your franchise quarterback going forward, if you're trying to figure out if the team should build around him for the next 10 years, or if you're trying to see what he can do when he has the freedom to play his game, you can't expect to get useful answers if you limit his play calling. You're not judging the quarterback. You're judging how well you can manage a game with a limited offensive strategy. And when the season is over and the owners ask, "Did Shedeur show enough to be our starter next year?" what will Kevin Stefanski say? "We only let him throw 20 passes a game, though. We were very careful with everything. We never really let him show off all of his skills or let him use the playbook." But here's what I think based on that very small sample size. That's not a real test. That's bad coaching that looks like being careful. Now, let's talk about something that has been bothering fans who saw Shedeur Sanders play college football, saw him play well at Jackson State in Colorado, and saw him make NFL-caliber throws week after week against tough opponents. It's completely ridiculous to say that he's unproven, that we don't know if he can handle a full NFL passing load, or that he needs to be protected and eased into the league slowly. In college, Shedeur Sanders threw passes at an elite level. He threw for a lot of yards. He threw everything from deep bombs down the sideline to perfectly placed back shoulder fades to threading needles in tight coverage over the middle. He played in big games against good defenses while the whole country was watching. He dealt with pressure from both pass rushers and the high expectations that come with being Deion Sanders' son. Without Shedeur Sanders throwing him the ball with accuracy and timing, Travis Hunter wouldn't have won the Heisman Trophy. That's true. Hunter is an amazing athlete and an elite talent who deserves all the praise he's gotten. But he needed a quarterback who could get him the ball in the right places to make plays, throw it exactly where it needed to go, and know how to get the most out of his receiver's skills. Shedeur did that all the time while they were at Colorado. He helped Travis Hunter get better. He improved all of his receiving CP. He made everyone around him better because he was accurate, made good decisions, and could throw the ball on time and on target no matter how well the defense was covering him. So, when people in Cleveland, whether they are coaches, reporters, or fans who are unsure, act like Shedeur is a new player who needs to be treated with care, it's either intentional ignorance or sabotage. This isn't a quarterback from Division II who was the best player in the league and now has to prove he can play against NFL players. This player was the best in college football, could make every throw possible, and showed NFL-level arm strength and processing speed all the time. He just needs a chance and the trust of his coaches. And right now, he's not getting either. The comparison to Dillon Gabriel is very helpful because it shows what happens when a team really trusts their quarterback and lets him do his job. 52 passes thrown in a single game against the Steelers, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL. That's an organization saying, we trust our quarterback to make plays. We're going to give him every chance to win this match through the air. We believe in his arm and his decision-making enough to put the match in his hands. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, Shedeur is getting 20 passes per game toward inferior competition, and there's legitimate debate regarding whether they should even increase that number. This is what makes this situation even more frustrating for anyone who wants to see it work out. This week's Tennessee Titans game is the perfect time to let him go. Open up the playbook and call plays that show off his strengths instead of hiding him in safe game plans. The Titans are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Their pass defense isn't very strong. Their pass rush isn't putting enough pressure on the quarterback. This is the perfect time to call deep shots and work through progressions. Let your quarterback build confidence and get into a rhythm without having to deal with an elite defense that makes every throw hard. But Kevin Stefanski doesn't seem to believe in opening things up, even against the Titans, who are the best team he could have played against. He still thinks the same way about Shedeur's development. He doesn't want to lose, so he's being careful. That tells you everything you need to know about what's really going on here. This isn't about keeping a young quarterback from failing. This isn't about being smart about when he should grow up. This is about a head coach who doesn't trust the player, doesn't think he can do it, and is actively limiting his chances because he's more worried about keeping his own job than about setting the stage for long-term success. The radio host made a great point when he said that the worst thing that could happen is that you could hurt his confidence. But here's the other side of the argument that no one in the Browns organization seems to be thinking about. What else makes a quarterback less sure of himself? We may be always telling him that you don't trust him enough to throw the ball. Making game plans that are so conservative that they basically say, we don't think you can beat teams through the air. Not giving him the chances that every other quarterback in the league gets all the time. That kind of treatment hurts your confidence just as much as throwing interceptions or having bad games. Quarterbacks need to know that people trust them. They need to know that their coaches trust them enough to let them play in games. They need the freedom to make plays, even if it means making mistakes from time to time. To grow, you need to do things over and over, learn from your mistakes, and keep going. You can't make a franchise quarterback by keeping him in a box, not letting him play the position the way it's meant to be played, and not giving him chances to do so. But that's exactly what Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees are doing with Shedeur Sanders. The most frustrating thing about this whole thing is that everyone can see what's going on except for the people who are making the decisions. The local news is openly talking about the handcuffs. Fans are upset that their quarterback only gets 20 pass attempts, while other rookie quarterbacks around the league get 40 to 50. People who watch Shedeur play in college are confused about why an offense would purposely limit a player with his arm talent and ability to process information. The only people who seem to agree with this conservative approach are the coaches who are putting it into action. And this is what will happen. The season is going to end if this keeps happening. Ownership will look at how well Kevin Stefanski did his job. They're going to look at Shedeur's very small sample of statistics, and Stefanski is going to say that Shedeur didn't do enough in the few chances he had to be the starter next year, conveniently forgetting that he never really gave the young quarterback a chance to show what he could do. He'll say that the conservative offensive strategy was proof that he was being smart and protective, but in reality, he was scared and selfish. And the Browns will have completely wasted a great chance to properly judge a quarterback they spent draft picks on and that their owner publicly defended. The game against the Tennessee Titans is a turning point for this whole thing. There might be hope that the coaching staff is finally ready to trust Shedeur and help him grow if Kevin Stefanski finally opens up the playbook, lets him throw 35 to 40 times, comes up with an aggressive game plan that shows off his strengths, and lets him play quarterback the way he knows how to. But if the game plan is the same as the last 3 games, if Shedeur throws 20 to 25 more passes, and if the offense stays safe, boring, and scared, then everyone will know what's going on. This isn't helping players grow. This is the coaching staff putting their own needs ahead of the quarterback's growth and the future of the team. This isn't good enough for Shedeur Sanders. He should have a coaching staff that has faith in him enough to let him play. He needs an offensive coordinator who makes plays that make the most of his skills instead of keeping him out of the action. He should have the same chances as other rookie quarterbacks in the league who get them all the time. And Browns fans should be able to see what their quarterback can do when he doesn't have to worry about fake rules and restrictions. You can tell everything you need to know from the 61 pass attempts in 3 games. This is sabotage that looks like caution, and it needs to stop right away. If you're as angry as I am about how the Browns are treating Shedeur Sanders, if you want to see what happens when they finally let him play quarterback, and if you're ready to call out Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees for this conservative nonsense that's getting in the way of a proper evaluation, then you need to like this video right now and subscribe to this channel right away. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any news. This game between the Tennessee Titans and the Browns will tell us everything we need to know about whether the Browns are really trying to develop Shedeur or if they're just wasting everyone's time. Let me know in the comments how many passes you think Shedeur should try against the Titans. And let's make sure this coaching staff is responsible. Let him throw now. And if they won't do it, everyone needs to know who is to blame for stopping his growth.